What happens when two of country music's biggest stars clash on live television, and years of buried resentment finally explode into an unforgettable confrontation that left audiences stunned and one superstar storming off the set? You're about to witness the most shocking celebrity interview meltdown in recent memory. Make sure to subscribe and drop a comment below, because this story gets more intense with every passing moment. The Kelly Clarkson Show was supposed to be a routine promotional appearance for Miranda Lambert's latest album, but from the moment the cameras started rolling, something felt different. Kelly, usually the picture of warmth and enthusiasm, seemed unusually reserved as she introduced her guest. Miranda walked onto the stage with her signature confident stride, waving to the audience. But even her smile appeared forced, almost mechanical. "Please welcome the incredible Miranda Lambert," Kelly announced, her voice carrying just a hint of tension that seasoned viewers might have picked up on. The audience erupted in applause, but there was an undercurrent of electricity in the air that suggested this wouldn't be your typical feel-good interview. Miranda settled into the guest chair, adjusting her jacket with deliberate precision. "Thanks for having me, Kelly," she said, her tone polite but lacking the genuine warmth she usually displayed in interviews. Kelly nodded, shuffling through her note cards with more attention than usual, as if she was buying time or perhaps reconsidering her approach. "So Miranda, your new album is getting incredible reviews," Kelly began, attempting to steer the conversation toward safe territory. "The critics are calling it your most personal work yet. What inspired this particular collection of songs?" Miranda's expression shifted slightly, a shadow passing across her face. "Well, Kelly, inspiration comes from life experience, doesn't it? Sometimes the most personal songs come from the most difficult situations, from betrayal, from people who pretend to be your friends, but then..." She paused, her eyes narrowing as she looked directly at Kelly. The host's smile faltered for just a moment, and viewers could sense the tension crackling between them like electricity before a storm. "From people who smile to your face but then make comments behind your back," Miranda continued, her voice taking on a sharper edge. "You know what I mean, don't you, Kelly?" Kelly's composure wavered, and she cleared her throat nervously. "I'm not sure I follow. Are you referring to something specific, or is this more about the general experiences that inform your songwriting?" "I think you know exactly what I'm referring to," Miranda replied, leaning forward slightly in her chair. The audience began to murmur, sensing that something was happening beyond the typical promotional interview format. "But maybe we should talk about your experiences instead. Like that interview you did last month." The color drained from Kelly's face. She knew exactly which interview Miranda was referencing, and suddenly, the carefully planned questions on her note cards seemed irrelevant. "Miranda, I think there might be some misunderstanding here. This is about your new music, your tour, your fans who are excited to hear about your latest projects." "My fans," Miranda repeated, her voice gaining intensity. "Yes, let's talk about my fans. The ones who saw that interview where you basically said I was difficult to work with, that I had attitude problems, that I was hard to be around during our collaboration. Did you think I wouldn't see it? Did you think I wouldn't respond?" Kelly's hands trembled slightly as she gripped her note cards tighter. "Miranda, I never said those things. I think you might have misinterpreted what I said. I have nothing but respect for you as an artist and as a person." "Misinterpreted?" Miranda's laugh was cold and humorless. "Kelly, I've been in this business long enough to know when someone is throwing shade. You sat there with that sweet smile of yours and talked about how some artists are just more challenging to collaborate with, how some people bring drama wherever they go. And when the host asked for specific examples, you got that look in your eye." The audience was completely silent now, hanging on every word. Kelly tried to maintain her professional demeanor, but sweat was beginning to form on her forehead. "Miranda, I genuinely don't recall saying anything negative about you specifically. If something I said came across the wrong way, I sincerely apologize. That was never my intention." "Your intention?" Miranda scoffed. "Let me tell you about intention, Kelly. My intention was to come here today, promote my album, talk about my music, and be professional. But since you want to play games, since you want to pretend you don't remember what you said, maybe we should refresh your memory." Miranda reached into her purse and pulled out her phone, her fingers moving quickly across the screen. "Because fortunately for both of us, interviews get recorded, and social media never forgets. Would you like me to play the audio clip right here, right now, in front of your audience?" Kelly's eyes widened in panic. The last thing she wanted was to have her words played back on her own show, especially. The studio fell into an eerie silence as Miranda's words hung in the air like a challenge. Kelly's makeup artist, watching from the wings, instinctively stepped forward but was quickly waved back by a producer, who knew that any interruption now would only make things worse. The cameras continued rolling, capturing every micro-expression, every tremor in Kelly's voice, every flash of anger in Miranda's eyes. "You know what, Kelly?" Miranda said, her voice now carrying a dangerous calm that was somehow more unsettling. Then her previous anger, "I've been thinking about this moment for weeks. I've been wondering what I would say to you when we finally faced each other. And now that we're here, I realize that all those practice speeches, all those carefully chosen words, they don't matter anymore." Kelly swallowed hard, her throat visibly working. "Miranda, whatever you think I did, whatever you think I said, I'm willing to discuss it. But not like this. Not in front of my audience, not on my show. This isn't the place for personal grievances. Your show." Miranda's eyebrows shot up. "Your audience. Kelly, let me tell you something about your audience. They're not just your audience, they're music fans. They're people who care about authenticity, who can spot fake from a mile away. And right now, they're watching you squirm because you got caught." The audience members exchanged glances, some pulling out their phones despite the no recording policy. This was television history in the making, and everyone knew it. Kelly's usual warm demeanor had completely evaporated, replaced by something that looked almost desperate. "I am not squirming," Kelly said, her voice gaining strength. "I am trying to be professional in a very unprofessional situation. I am trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you're making it incredibly difficult. You walk onto my show, you attack me personally. You make accusations that I don't understand, and then you act like I'm the problem." Miranda laughed, a sound devoid of any humor. "There it is. There's the Kelly Clarkson I was talking about, the one who can't help but turn herself into the victim in every situation. You don't understand my accusations. Really, should I be more specific?" She pulled her phone out again, her thumb hovering over the screen. "Because I have the entire interview right here. I can play it word for word. I can show your audience exactly what you said about me, exactly how you rolled your eyes when my name came up, exactly how you made those little comments about my supposed attitude problem." Kelly's face went pale. "Miranda, please don't do this. Whatever happened between us, whatever misunderstanding there might be, we can resolve it privately. This is not the way to handle professional disagreements." "Professional disagreements?" Miranda's voice cracked with disbelief. "Kelly, this stopped being professional the moment you decided to use your platform to take shots at me. You think, because you're America's sweetheart, because you won American Idol, because you've got this nice girl image, that you can say whatever you want about other artists and face no consequences." "I don't think I'm above consequences," Kelly shot back, her own anger finally starting to show. "But I also don't think I deserve to be ambushed on my own show by someone who's clearly looking for a fight. You came here with an agenda, Miranda. You came here to create drama, to make a scene, to get attention for your album by starting a feud with me." The words hit Miranda like a physical blow. She took a step back, her eyes widening with rage. "You think this is about my album? You think I would risk my reputation, my career, my relationships in this industry just to sell a few more records? Kelly, that says more about you than it does about me. It says that I understand how this business works," Kelly replied, her voice growing colder. "It says that I know a publicity stunt when I see one. You're not the first artist to try to manufacture controversy to get people talking, and you won't be the last." Miranda's face flushed crimson. "A publicity stunt? Kelly, you have lost your mind. You think I would humiliate myself on national television, risk alienating fans, damage relationships with other artists, all for publicity? You think I would put my dignity on the line for a few headlines? I think you're a smart businesswoman who knows that controversy sells," Kelly said, her media training finally kicking in. "I think you know that a feud with me will generate more buzz than any traditional interview could. I think you calculated this whole thing from the moment you agreed to come on the show." The accusation hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Miranda stood frozen for a moment, processing what Kelly had just said. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried more menace than all her previous shouting. "You think I calculated this? You think I planned to come here and expose myself to this kind of humiliation just for business? Kelly, let me tell you what I calculated. I calculated that you might have the decency to apologize. I calculated that you might show some respect for a peer who's been nothing but supportive of your career. I calculated wrong." Kelly sensed she had gone too far, but there was no taking it back now. "Miranda, I'm sorry if you feel I've been disrespectful. I'm sorry if something I said was taken the wrong way. But I'm not sorry for defending myself against unfair accusations." "Unfair accusations?" Miranda's voice rose again. "Kelly, you want to talk about unfair? Let's talk about how you've spent years building this image as the supportive, encouraging mentor to other artists. Let's talk about how you've made your career on being the relatable, down-to-earth star who lifts other women up. And then let's talk about how you really behave when you think no one's watching." She began pacing now, her energy kinetic and dangerous. "You want to know what's unfair? What's unfair is that I defended you when other people in this industry called you fake. What's unfair is that I praised your talent when journalists asked me about the competition between female artists. What's unfair is that I genuinely believed you were one of the good ones." Kelly's composure was cracking. Miranda, I am one of the good ones. I have spent my entire career trying to be positive, trying to be supportive, trying to lift other people up. If I said something that hurt you, it was never intentional. But this, what you're doing right now, the studio atmosphere had shifted completely. What began as a routine daytime television interview had transformed into something raw and unprecedented. Kelly's producers were frantically gesturing from behind the cameras, but both women were, beyond caring about television protocol or damage control, this was about to become the most explosive finale in daytime television history. Honest, Kelly said, her voice taking on a steely edge that her viewers had never heard before. You want honest, Miranda? Here's honest. You've been looking for a reason to come after me for months. This isn't about one interview. This is about jealousy, about the fact that my career has taken a different trajectory than yours, about the fact that I've been able to transition successfully into television while you're still grinding it out on the road. Miranda's eyes flashed with fury. Jealousy. Kelly, you have completely lost touch with reality. You think I'm jealous of you? Of sitting behind a desk every day, interviewing celebrities, playing the same character over and over again. You think I'm jealous of your manufactured television persona? I think you're jealous of my stability. Kelly shot back, her voice gaining confidence. I think you're jealous that I don't have to worry about album sales, about touring revenues, about staying relevant in an industry that's constantly changing. I think you're jealous that I found a way to evolve beyond just being a recording artist. The words hit Miranda like a slap. She stood completely still for a moment, processing the insult. When she finally spoke, her voice was dangerously quiet. Kelly, you just made the biggest mistake of your career. You just showed your true colors in front of millions of people. You just proved everything I've been saying about you. And what exactly have you been saying about me? Kelly demanded, leaning forward in her chair. Because I'm starting to think, this whole thing is about you trying to tear me down, trying to damage my reputation because you can't stand that I've found success in a different arena. Miranda began to pace again, her movements sharp and agitated. What I've been saying, Kelly, is that you're not the person you pretend to be. What I've been saying is that behind that sweet, supportive facade, you're just as competitive and ruthless as anyone else in this business. What I've been saying is that you're a fraud. The word hung in the air like a bomb. Kelly's face went white, then red, then white again. A fraud. Miranda, I have built my entire career on authenticity, on being genuine with my audience, on being real about my struggles and my successes. How dare you call me a fraud? Because that's exactly what you are, Miranda replied, her voice rising. To match Kelly's intensity, you're a carefully constructed character designed to appeal to the broadest possible audience. You're a marketing creation, a focus group, tested personality. There's nothing authentic about you, Kelly. Nothing real. Kelly stood up abruptly, her chair rolling backward. That is enough. I have been nothing but professional with you, nothing but respectful, and you have turned my show into a circus. You have attacked me personally, professionally, and now you're attacking my character. I will not tolerate this anymore. You won't tolerate it. Miranda's laugh was harsh and mocking. Kelly, you started this. You threw the first punch when you ran your mouth about me in that interview. You created this situation, and now you're angry that I'm fighting back. I didn't run my mouth about anyone, Kelly said, her voice shaking with emotion. I answered questions honestly about my experiences in the industry. If you took that as a personal attack, that's your problem, not mine. My problem. Miranda's voice cracked. Kelly, you specifically mentioned situations where artists were difficult to work with. You specifically talked about people who bring drama to collaborations. You specifically made comments about artists who think they're bigger than they are. And when you were pressed for examples, you got that look in your eye, that smug little smile, and everyone knew exactly who you were talking about. Kelly's composure finally snapped completely. Fine. Yes, I was thinking about you. Yes, you were difficult to work with. Yes, you did bring drama to our collaboration. Yes, you do think you're bigger than you are. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted to hear? The confession hit the studio like a thunderbolt. The audience gasped audibly, and even the seasoned camera operators looked stunned. Miranda stood frozen, not because she was surprised by the admission, but because she couldn't believe Kelly had actually said it out loud, on television, in front of millions of viewers. There it is, Miranda said, her voice barely above a whisper. There's the truth. There's the real Kelly Clarkson. Not the supportive mentor, not the encouraging colleague, not the champion of other women. Just another insecure artist who can't stand competition. Kelly immediately realized what she had done, but it was too late to take it back. Miranda, I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. That's not how I really feel about you. No, Kelly, Miranda said, shaking her head. That's exactly how you really feel about me. That's what you've been thinking all along. That's what you've been telling people behind my back. The only difference is that now you said it to my face. In front of witnesses, Kelly's eyes were filling with tears. But whether from anger or regret was impossible to tell. Miranda, Please, we can work through this. We can find a way to move past this. We're both professionals. We're both adults. We can handle this situation better than this. Handle it better. Miranda's voice was incredulous. Kelly, you just publicly humiliated me on your own show. You just called me difficult, dramatic, and egotistical on national television. You just destroyed any possibility of us working together again, and you want to talk about handling it better. I want to talk about salvaging what's left of our professional relationship, Kelly said desperately. I want to talk about finding a way forward that doesn't involve destroying each other in public. Miranda stared at her for a long moment, then slowly began to shake her head. Kelly, there is no way forward. There is no professional relationship to salvage. You've shown me exactly who you are, and I've shown you exactly who I am. There's nothing left to discuss. She turned toward the wings, then stopped and looked back at Kelly one final time. You know what the saddest part of all this is? I actually respected you. I actually believed you were different. I actually thought you were one of the good ones in this industry. I was wrong about a lot of things, but I was never more wrong than I was about you. Kelly made one last desperate attempt to salvage the situation. Miranda, don't leave like this. Don't end this conversation on such a negative note. We can find a way to move forward, to put this behind us, to be professional colleagues again. Miranda's response was swift and final. Kelly, we were never professional colleagues. We were never friends. We were never anything more than two people who happened to work in the same industry, and after today, we're not even that. She began walking toward the exit, her heels clicking sharply against the studio floor. Kelly called after her, her voice desperate and pleading. Miranda, please don't do this. Please don't leave my show like this. Please don't end this interview this way. Miranda paused at the edge of the set, not bothering to turn around. Kelly, this interview ended the moment you decided to attack my character instead of addressing your own behavior. This interview ended the moment you chose to play victim instead of taking responsibility.